What's up, people of YouTube? Do my normal Sunday update here. This will be day 11 using nualgi. Dose number 3 is tomorrow. Start off with the 20 long. I don't know, you might be able to see it on that long fin there. They're getting a lot more color this last week. Part of that is they're just coming to the age where they finally color up. I got them pretty young, but even that neon has gotten a lot more vibrant since I've started using nualgi, which is one of the perks of nualgi. It really increases fish health along with balancing the aquarium, as a balanced aquarium will really help fish health. I do have to say though, this last week, like algae wise and stuff, there hasn't been much of an effect. I don't think the camera might pick it up here, but as you can see, that rock is a lot more covered up in green spot algae, but the cyano here has become nearly black and is starting to get eaten by my fish, so that is dying off. Plant wise, this tank's never really had like a growth spurt at all. It's always been really just taking its own pace. I don't dose it at all. I don't use CO2. It's just completely, pretty much the Wallstead method. Just let nature take its course. Using EcoComplete as a substrate. It gets a 10% water change weekly. I do it right before the videos. But ever since I've started nualgi, just in the last week, that Anubis has 3 new leaves. Each of these Anubis have 2 or 3 new leaves, which they're relatively slow growing plants. These mini here have a couple of new leaves themselves. This ocelot I've actually had to split. The other half is over there now. The cryptocorn Venti bronze right here, I actually split that into 5 plants and spread them around here. That crypt I could probably split into 2. That one I could probably split into 2. That one's about ready to split into 3. I mean, it's just been an explosion of growth, and I think it's going to be kind of hard to really compare through the camera, but I know visually for me the plants are showing a lot more color. Even if you go back to last week's video, you can probably notice that these ocelot swords have a lot more red to them. I can't say nualgi isn't a plant fertilizer. It does have some fertilizing components in it that are made to be a nano size molecularly, to be smaller than the pores of the plants. So they're much easier to absorb than most of your everyday aquarium fertilizers. They just get mixed into the water column, and then a lot of it ends up getting lost and not used by the plants just because it's floating around the water column and not in contact with the leaves long enough to actually get absorbed. Part of the growth spurt that I'm seeing may possibly be the nualgi working its way into the substrate and releasing a lot of those nutrients that are just sort of trapped in there, taking care of a lot of the excess phosphate and nitrite. It's just trapped into the substrate itself and not getting utilized. I did have to scrape, well, not really scrape, because I used the Mist Clean, magic eraser, so it's more of just a quick wipe down. The diatom growth that I had on the front and glass on all three sides, which it was minimal effort. To give you an example of that, I didn't do the side of the 100 here. As you can see, there's a lot of diatom growth on the glass here. It's really important for me to stress that nualgi isn't made to be a aquarium husbandry replacement. They do say that with its consistent use, it will help you cut down on the needed husbandry and maintenance. But it's not by any means meant to remove the need for your water changes or every once in a while scraping and wiping the glass. You're still going to get that biofilm that builds up. It's just part of an aquarium. But as the 100, I mean, you can see my silver dollars are starting to get a lot more color as they age. The opalines are much more of a blue than the silver they were, so they're showing a lot more color. So even in this tank where there wasn't really anything out of whack, it's still showing effects. I mean, you can see the Australian rainbows there have definitely increased in coloration and shimmer in just the last week. I mean, other than I know this tank had relatively high phosphates, there wasn't really anything I was expecting to see out of this tank. Sorry for saying so much. I always come up with these videos on the fly. But I mean, nualgi's definitely showing its worth. But let's see how the shrimp tank's looking, which I haven't done anything yet to tonight. Oh, I'm a liar. I added the skull. That's all I did today, because I was organizing the stuff and I found it. And I knew it was an aquarium decoration, so I threw it in there just because it breaks up some of the monotony on the back glass of seeing all the equipment. But as you can see, there's a lot of algae growth on the front. And I absolutely hate how this camera picks up this moss, because it really does no justice to show how thick that moss is growing right now. About the last week and a half using nualgi, I've really noticed that the Java moss, on top of growing ridiculously like it has, it's also gotten a much brighter green. Hi, kitty. Move your tail. Not in the camera. Will you move? Get. There was that giant tuft of hair algae that was here. This morning it was from about here, and then it came up, and then it came back down to about here. So it almost doubled in size again since last week. So I pulled that out. There's a little bit growing over here. I pulled that out. But other than that, I haven't done anything to the tank today. I need to scrape the front glass so I can at least enjoy the view of the shrimp. Unfortunately, because there's so much on the front, you can't see on the back glass that it is actually almost gone. I also need to trim a few leaves that are pretty beat up, like that one there, and that one there, and that one there. But other than that, this, even for a very low maintenance tank, for example, I had about 1.5 gallons of water to top this off every 3 weeks, maybe once a month. But even the super low maintenance tank like this, where there's pretty much no real bio load other than, well, whatever plants may die off and become something rotting, but I'm pretty sure a lot of this front algae is actually, because that's relatively old substrate, so I'm not surprised if the new algae is actually pulling a lot of nutrients up out of the substrate into the water column, which induces this algae bloom, which isn't a bad thing because the algae takes care of the nutrients. Eventually the nutrients are gone, algae dies off, shrimp take care of that, voila, your tank's back in balance, which is the entire point of new algae. But wow, I'm almost at 12 minutes, so yeah, that is dose number 2, almost dose number 3 update for today, March, I don't know what, 16th, something like that. It all blends together. I work too much. Catch you guys later.